from Tennessee. Yep, okay, yeah. All right, I gotta go. Yep, bye. Hey, Dr. Singer, you got your nephew and niece, right? Did I get that right? Wow, you got everything set up. How did you get that box up there? That's a huge box, for goodness sakes. You're cute little guys, look at you. A big sister, huh? Little leather bag, I'm loving it. Yeah, you should be proud, Doctor. I know you're proud, yeah. All right, let's get into this. So yeah, this box came all the way from Tennessee. Donna Maloney. Get these little fellas back where they're safe. So let's get into this unboxing right away. I can tell you that as far as clues, that Dr. Singer being out there with his niece and nephew should tell you right away who made this machine. So that's a big clue to at least get you going the right direction. And Donna Maloney sent this to me. This machine belonged to her grandmother. And she said it's in real rough state, and we're going to be looking at doing a full restoration on it. I mean, new paint, decals, the whole works. So this will be a long-term project. It'll be in the workshop for a while, and good news is Donna said she's not in a big hurry. So I'll be able to take my time and do it right as I always do. I don't want to rush. Don't want to do things haphazard. You know what I mean? All right. Well, let's take a look at this unboxing step by step to get us down to a point where we can see Donna's grandmother's machine. That was kind of cool. At the end, it kind of just went faded down a little bit, and then we had to and they were snapping their fingers, kind of like, yeah, you heard it. You know what I mean? All right. So the flavor of music today during this premiere is going to have kind of a country, southern type feeling to it. There's probably going to be a fair amount of banjo playing in these pieces because I love the banjo. And whenever I think of the great state of Tennessee, you know, I think of the Grand Ole Opry, I think of Nashville, I think of all the talented, gifted artists that are down there. And yeah, you know what I mean. All right, let's step it up a little bit now to get me motivated. Here we go. That first one, oh, by the way, the first one was called Creek Whistle. And the next one we're going to play is called, oh my gosh. I just looked at the title of the next one we're going to play, and I'm not making it up. It's entitled COVID Come Not Here. COVID Come Not Here. I didn't know when this was written, but with what we're going through with this pandemic and everything and what we've already gone through, maybe it was written in response to that. I almost said in honor of that, but we're not going to honor COVID in any way. But at any rate, here it is. COVID Come Not Here. All right, let's start opening this box up. Yeah! I think that was Hank just going wahoo too. And I'm pretty sure, in looking at this box, that Donna probably had somebody pack it on her behalf. So whatever feedback I give on packing is not anything against Donna. It's it'll be pointed back to the folks that actually packed it, which looks like folks out of the Mail Center, etc. The Mail Center, etc. down in the great state of Tennessee. So. All right, here we go. All right, I hear you. I hear you. We like your rhythm, Scott, but let's see what's in this box. Let's see what's in this box, man. All right, I can do that. So we've got some fairly decent bubble wrap on top. It all appears to be intact, so this didn't have a super duper rough ride, at least from the top down. So we'll see what we find beyond this point. And it looks like they did use, let me see here before I talk too soon. I was going to say it looks like they used a double box method, but they didn't. That's just a piece of cardboard on top, creating a little bit of a barrier shield across here. I can feel what appears to be the carrying case right underneath it. So this isn't bad. I mean, this is, you know, if something tries to punch through the box, this is going to provide some protection along with the bubble wrap. So yeah, 10 out of 10, no. I would say probably 6 out of 10 as far as the barrier. Much better than what we've seen on some of the boxings, that's for sure. And unboxings, I should say. All right, so we got to snip a little tape here. We'll pull out the side stuff first. So again, a combination of bubble wrap and cardboard as kind of a protection and a filler. And I do see that there's some heavier gauge bubble wrap that's underneath this box as well. So some fairly, I would say some fairly thoughtful packing has gone into this from what I'm seeing so far. Cardboard is a great barrier protection, and when you combine it with bubble wrap, it does a really decent job of creating you know, some general punch through protection, and just gives you a little bit more confidence that along with that corrugated box, it's going to have some backup plans. You know, you need backup plans. We've seen some machines arrive at the workshop where they could have definitely used some backup plans, definitely. So more cardboard, and I'm looking at the side right now. What is the carrying case already? There's a thin layer of bubble wrap. I would say maybe one layer of it, from what I can see at my vantage point. So that really is not enough. Even with all the other barrier stuff we saw, you're going to want to create a shell around that case of somewhere between, based on the way this has been packed otherwise, probably between 3 to 6 layers of bubble wrap. And then you obviously use stretch wrap to strap it down, and then strapping tape to anchor it in place. So this is not ideal, even if a machine's in the case. And when you're shipping a machine in the case, it appears that this is on the side. It's laid on the side on the case, so hopefully there's good padding on the inside of the case, because otherwise that machine is not positioned vertically like it normally would be. It's sideways, and if it got a lot of bouncing up and down, that machine may have gotten beat up pretty good. And even though we're looking at a full restoration, we still want to, you know, try to preserve that machine as best as we can. So the folks down in Tennessee, the Mail Center, etc., if Donna happens to point you towards this unboxing, you really do want to do a better job than this. Minimum 3, preferably between 3 to 6 layers, and then instead of it being loosey-goosey like it is right now, you want to go around this with stretch wrap and really anchor it to the body of this case to keep that case secure. Even if we don't intend to use the case, the more secure you make it layer by layer by layer, the better protection that machine on the inside is going to have. Does that make sense? Yeah, it makes sense. It almost looked like a scowl. I wasn't scowling. I was kind of squinting. That was more of a squint than a scowl. Yeah, so that's, you know, general feedback. General feedback to these folks that helped Donna get this all packed up and ready. So we're done with COVID come not here. And now we're going to play something called the Slow Rabbit. The Slow Rabbit. I have never seen a slow rabbit, to be honest with you. unless it had the misfortune of having bad timing crossing a road. Then it's real slow. But yeah, rabbits are usually pretty daggone quick, and they can change direction. Yeah, don't even get me on rabbits. I could go all day long talking about how fascinating they are. So anyway, here it is. So some more cardboard, barrier sides. Definitely doesn't hurt. Again, immobilizing this case is our goal, and then padding this case real well, and preferably anchoring it on both ends all the way around the case to keep the lid from separating from the base. And I don't think we have that in here. So this appears to be a real strong box, so this is definitely a quality box compared to one of the recent unboxings that we did. This one's got a lot of stability to it. So and again, if you look at the size, you know, if you're prepping a machine to come to the workshop, you look at the size of these bubbles on here. They're bigger than what I use, but as side protection, these are spot on. They're going to be probably about, well, you know me, I've got to measure it just out of curiosity. They're going to be about almost 25 millimeters in diameter. Real close to 25 millimeters. So these are real good for side impact protection. Also for supporting the machine, as I believe they also use them. So, you know, it's like a broken clock. A broken clock is right twice a day, so I want to emphasize in every unboxing, there's some things that are done right, and I've mentioned those already, and there's some opportunities too. So, all right, I think I can just lift this up. That's what I'm going to do. Lift it up, and then we'll move this big box out of the way. So you can see down in the bottom of here the padding that these folks did on behalf of Donna. We've got some real, I would call these real sturdy, larger bubble style wrapping paper. And it looks like they've got a crisscross thing. So they've got one on the bottom, they've got a couple right here. That would be about center on the bottom of the machine. And they had this one overlaid. So they basically have 3 to 4 layers of these real big bubbles. And they appear for the most part to be intact. So yeah, I think the bottom padding, I don't have anything negative to say about that at all. I think that that's decent. The case, again, how they prep that has some opportunity. But this is pretty decent. And not only that, it looks like they also went to the effort of anchoring it down a little bit so that if the case was shifting around in transit, this stuff wouldn't shift with it. And then when the case shifted back, all of a sudden you've got a case sitting on the bottom of the box with no bubbles underneath it. You know what I mean? Because if you don't anchor this stuff down like they did, then if the case moves, this is going to move with it. And then when that case moves back, all of a sudden you've got an exposed area of that case that is going to be it's only going to have the barrier then of the outside of the corrugated box. And then if that's dropped or something like that on a cement floor, on the bed of a UPS truck or whatever it is, you could be in a world of hurt. So this is definitely a plus. You can see how I'm having to pull to get it to come loose. So good job as far as the bottom barrier protection for Donna's grandmother's machine. All right, let's get this big old box off the workbench and get the machine case back up here so we can take a look at what we might have inside. And you don't have much in the way of clues at this point, you know what I mean? You don't have much in the way, we got some tape on the bottom of this too, so. You don't have much in the way of clues, other than I told you Dr. Singer Dr. Singer was out there. So you know right away that it's going to be a Singer sewing machine if Dr. Singer's out there. That's just his thing, you know what I mean? So, beyond it being a Singer, I can tell you that based on what Donna has told me, this, in all likelihood, had, and I say had because she said it's pretty rough. It's worn down and pretty much gone. But it had a Sphinx decal pattern on it. That's a big clue. They didn't use that on a huge scope of machines within the Singer family. So telling you that it's a Singer, telling you that it has a Sphinx pattern on it gives you a good basis at least to start to build a guess, you know what I mean? Kind of like build a bear, build a guess. So with those two clues, we'll kind of go there. And I can tell you that this machine also started with the idea of using it in a treadle base, if that helps too. So, all right, how about a little bit more music for unboxing here? Let's see here. So Slow Rabbit is what we just played. And now we're going to play Banish Misfortune. Banish Misfortune. Here we go. Oh yeah, we've played this before. I like this a lot. This is super cool. Okay, all right, I hear you guys. They wanted to get out here and do a little bit of dancing for you, so I'm going to help them just a little bit. Nice job, you guys. Great rhythm. Are you Irish? All right, take a bow. We got to keep moving forward. Nice job, you guys. Nice job. Dr. Singing, you didn't tell me that they had talent like that. Nice dancing, you guys. We're going to have to eventually come up with names for you guys. I don't know if anybody wants to type in the chat what these little guys could be named. Whoops, that was me. No, we're not receiving gunfire. That was bubble wrap. All right. So you kind of see what I see in the shot there. Just a super thin layer. You've seen me cocoon things when I'm packing a machine in a case, and that's just way too thin. Way too thin. So. So I don't think that this broke in transit. I think Donna had said that the case was in rough shape, so this is what is left of the handle. So in all likelihood, if this machine is going to go back into a base in a case form, we're going to have to look at another case option for Donna, because this ain't going to work. This isn't going to work. So try to pick it up like this, you got to be pretty doggone strong. Let's see if I can do it. I don't know if I can even do it. Oh, barely. Barely. That's tough. That's really tough. And not ideal for carrying either, so. Well, that was a fun tune. I'd have to put that on my favorite list. I think some of you know, not all of you, that I've been to Ireland. And I can tell you that I bought a ton of music when I was in Ireland. As a matter of fact, near the Blarney Castle, if you've ever heard of the Blarney Castle before, it's pretty famous. They had a group actually performing right at the base of the castle. Nice young people. I think there was one gal, a couple of guys, and they were just playing some beautiful, beautiful Irish music. And of course, you know me, I've got to buy every single CD that they had. And I've got them somewhere. I'll have to see if I can find them sometime and, you know, maybe play them in the car or something like that. Or, you know, I can't play them on a Premiere because then I'll probably get a copyright strike or something like that. But yeah, Irish music. There's something special about it. And yes, they play Irish music sometimes down in Nashville too, down in Tennessee. So that was Banished Misfortune. And now we have Cuckoo's Nest. Cuckoo's Nest. It's another fun one. I know you guys can't come out and dance again. I know this is a great dance song. This is fabulous. I love this song. And Herr Obermeister and Mr. Bean can't dance either because they're actually with the boats right now. If y'all didn't see that premiere of Mr. Bean and the Pirate out on the river, you got to check it out. It's got some subtitles that I built into it to create a story, and it's a lot of fun. Got some real good feedback on it. But those boys are out there driving the boat today. So there we've got a case. And I have no idea if I have it facing the right way or not, so. If I can create just a little handle to make lifting it easier as I'm moving it around. So let's see what I can do real quick. It's quite a bit bigger than we needed, but to see if I had a zip tie near the workbench over here. That one's worth playing again, I think. Oh, that's a good idea. I'll just do that temporarily. that'll work. Really, what I'd love to do is to be able to stitch it down, but just for now, it'll protect my hand and it'll give us an option, I think, to lift the case. Hopefully that works. Well, give it a try. Yeah. I'm going to block the camera just for a second so that I can check to see if I've got it facing the right way. Yep, I think I do. And this was probably stored in a spot that was maybe real damp, and because it has kind of a musty, strong odor when you lift up the lid. So I'm expecting we'll probably find some rust and other stuff like that. So, all right, so let's lift this lid off, and you can take a swing at guessing what it might be, what kind of machine this might be within the Singer family. You can kind of see through there a little bit. And it looks like there's a wrap down on the end, right over here, that you would typically see when a seamstress is wanting to keep pins available to position the material in that for stitching and hold it in place. So anyway, you can take a look at that while I'm picking another piece of music and see if you can venture a guess as to what it might be. And we'll probably look up the serial number together just so I can show you how to do that if you're not familiar with that, if you're new to the channel, and that way you'll be comfortable in looking up other machines as well. But yeah, we've got falling out of the case all over the place from that little pin cushion wrapped around the arm of the machine. We got quite a few pins that are straying away from their designated spot, so I better be careful if I walk around here down here with bare feet or something like that until I vacuum again. So, all right, so that was Cuckoo's Nest. I'm going to put on Let's Do This. Let's do this. And you're probably saying the same thing. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's finish the unboxing. So here we got some of our beloved airbags. The ones on the outside are filled. We got a pretty good one this time. This one's popped. The other three, well, we got one popped on the end too. So we've got basically 3 good and 2 bad. Not the best of odds, you know. Got stuff falling out all over the place here. If I see a critter run out, I'm going to try to catch him, just so you know. If I see a critter, I am going to catch him. Yes, I am. And interestingly, this is set up with a motor. And a motor and a necky. A necky foot controller. So that's kind of an interesting match, huh? We'll probably have to look at replacing that necky foot controller with a Singer foot controller, since we're going to do a full restore on this. When I'm saying we, I mean me. I don't know if Dr. Singer will pitch in. I know Mr. Bean probably will be somewhere else, and this is not Herr Obermeister's thing because it's not a German machine. So we'll see if we can't find a more appropriate foot controller with Singer brand on it. So yeah, I can kind of see what Donna was saying now. This is rough, but it has the potential for what? Type it in the chat if you know what I'm going to say. Every machine has the potential for Y'all follow me a lot, you should know this. So on the back of the machine, we had more of these large airbags. We got one popped, one good, one kind of on the way out. So, at any rate. I'm going to write the serial number down, and we'll look this up together so that you and yes, I did just use a little bit of spit on there to clean that off so we can read it more easily. Let me zoom in on it so you can write it down as well, and that way you'll have it written down and you can actually look it up with me. I think it's kind of fun to look things up together, isn't it? Let's really get close on that. And just ignore all the rust. So as you should be able, once I stop moving the camera, as you should be able to see in the shot, we have a serial number of H186470. H186470. So let's go over to the site that I use quite a bit, and my camera's in kind of a weird position. Let me move this camera because I've got all this packing material right at my feet, so I can move this out a little bit and give us a better chance. So what I recommend, they do an excellent job of creating a database with most of the serial numbers that you're going to need. If all you do is Google Singer serial numbers, you're going to see at the very top of the list ISMAX International, and it'll say something like comprehensive database or something along those lines. And then since we have the first letter of H, what we kind of do, I'll probably zoom in even closer. And again, this is not to, for any of you that have done this a million times, it's not for you, it's for the new kids on the block, the new ones that are just learning this for the first time. So if you just scroll down, it obviously starts with no serial number prefix, where a lot of the very, very old machines, pre-1900, are going to have no serial number letter prefixing the serial number itself. So that's where you would search for those. And then you got AA, AB, AC, AD, AE. I'll turn my screen around. AF, AG, AH, AJ, AK, AL, AM, AN. I almost said LMNOP. So we finally got past all the double letter serial number prefixes, and now we're down to the single ones. And we got to go, let's see here. Let's keep on going. It's going to be somewhere down here probably. All right, finally. So what we're looking for is the H series, which is this one right here. So I'm going to click on that. Math problem solver. I guess they're trying to sell us a math problem solver. So we're going to close that. Sorry guys. So now we are in the H series as far as the numbers, and we're looking for a 6-digit number starting with 186. And you can see it starts with just a single number. H1 was actually one of the serial numbers, apparently the very first machine that made in the H series. And the first groups of the H series, as you can see probably in the far right hand corner of the notes, they were made in Canada, Montreal. So let's look for 186. I'm going to start scrolling down. Now we're starting to get 6-digit numbers right here. I think you can see that. Let me zoom in on that a little bit closer. Again, this is for the benefit of folks that have never done this before. That should be pretty good, I think. Oh, and I probably should do this as well, shouldn't I? So H186, we got to go down a little ways still. 120, 130, and all of a sudden we jump real quick, don't we? Right here is the grouping that we're looking for. It's 132001 through 192000. So that's going to be our group that we're looking for. And I think you can see that in the shot. Yeah, you sort of can. So, yeah, you got it in the shot. I was just double checking. So, what we're looking for again is this line right here, right above my finger, because the number we're looking for falls between those two numbers. So we're looking for 186470. So this tells us then it's a model 27. 60,000 were made, which is that's a pretty big production group. They must have really had a demand for that particular model, because that's actually larger than a standard production group of around 30 to 50,000. So they really were kicking them out the door. And then we know finally that Donna's grandmother's machine was made February 6th, 1906. So just kind of follow that all the way across, and you can kind of see how I read that if you're brand new to vintage sewing machines. So we just look for that number. It fell in this bracket between the 192 and the 132. Followed across, model 27, 60,000, February 6, 1906. So if anyone wants to do the math real quick, Donna's grandmother's machine was made in 1906. How old is this machine as of this premiere airing? As of this live premiere, how old is Donna's grandmother's machine? If you're the first to type it in the chat, I'll send you something special. And I've had a number of people recently that have won contests, impromptu ones, and I specifically say to them during the premiere, reach out to me, contact me. You can even call me if you want and give me your mailing information so I can send you something. And a number of the people just didn't do it. Maybe they just like winning and they don't care about the prize. But if you like winning and you care about the prize, and you're the first one to type in the chat, how many years old is Donna's grandmother's machine, with this being 2020 and the machine being born in 1906, then you're going to get something special from me. I'll send it to you. I even had that gentleman from Germany that won one of my impromptu contests, and I mailed him a nice book all the way to Germany. And yes, he got it. He got it safely. So I think that was Hartwig, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Hartwig from Germany. So, all right. So you've seen now how to look it up, and you can do it for pretty much any serial number that Singer ever had. The only thing you'll run into trouble with is trying to look up some of the slant-o-matic machines. They don't list them in these summaries usually. You have to look them up in a different way. And certainly on the internet you could find different indexes that have those summarized for the like for the 301, 301A, etc. Made at Elizabethport, New Jersey, and also made in the other location. Hey, that's another impromptu contest for you right now. I mentioned the one location. Where was the other location that they made a number of the Singer machines? Also on the East Coast. Type it in the chat. If you're the first one to type it and you like winning something and you contact me after the contest, if I declare you a winner, then I'll send you something special too. So far during this premiere unboxing, 2 impromptu contests already. It's kind of fun, isn't it? Yeah. So type that in the chat, and if you don't type it shortly. We'll just kind of stare at Donna's grandmother's machine for a little bit. And yes, there's opportunities with this machine, to say the least. And as I suspected when I kind of got that woof of odor when I lifted the lid up a little bit on it, you can see by the amount of rust that's evident on the bed, this machine was definitely stored, probably in a damp area somewhere. Could have been a basement, barn, storage shed. Hard to say. Okay, I'm going to give you the two answers to the two contest questions, because you've had more than enough time to look that information up by now. If you're interested in wanting to win a contest. If you go, I don't need anything, I don't want anything, then you're pretty unusual, because most people get pretty jazzed when they have a chance to win one of my impromptu contests. Because like one of the ladies that I sent something to, I think down in Florida, she said, I expected some sort of a trinket, and you sent me a really cool vintage button holder in a boat style container. You've seen those different color ones, they're really cool looking. So the answer to the first question I asked is, how old in years is Donna's grandmother's machine? And again, I'm not looking at the chat, so you may have already typed the winning answer in. But if you take 2020 and you subtract 1906, you're going to see that Donna's grandmother's machine is 114 years old. And again, coming up pretty quick with a birth date in February. When we get into February 2021, Donna's grandmother's machine is going to be 115 years old. 115 years old. How cool is that? So, you know, we talk about as we get older that, you know, we get the wrinkles, we get the wear marks, we get the stretch marks, we get all kinds of things happening to our bodies after walking the earth for a long period of time. Well, I think Donna's grandmother's machine has every reason to show a little bit of wear and tear after almost 115 years. So if you didn't get that answer right, or there was nothing posted by the time I announced it, then no one won that contest. If you did post it, then reach out to me. If you can see in the thread of the chat that you were the first one to post the correct answer of 114 years old, then reach out and I'll send you something special. So the second question was, as far as manufacturing locations. And I mentioned something about the Slant-O-Matic series ones in particular are hard to look up, because they usually have like an A, B, and other letter prefixes, which you're not going to see in this summary that we just looked at on Ismax. So they made machines in Elizabethport, New Jersey, but also they made them in Anderson, South Carolina. And again, whenever you see a machine that has an A after the model number, like a 301A, that's going to tell you that that machine was made in Anderson, South Carolina versus Elizabethport, New Jersey. That's what that A signifies. And I posted something recently on Facebook giving you all of the manufacturing letter codes. You know, if there's a machine that is like a 404K or a 404E or whatever it is, I gave you a summary of that, so you can scroll down and look for that. And then if you find an unusual machine online or otherwise, you can have a good likelihood of knowing where that machine was manufactured, because that's what that letter after the number of the model signifies, is the manufacturing plant location. So hopefully that was helpful to some of you. Some of you already knew that because you follow me and I've mentioned that before. So there were our two impromptu contests. I'm going to go ahead and put on a little bit more music, and then we'll come off the tripod and get a closer look at Donna's grandmother's machine. And again, it's going to be in a rough state. Donna told me that, but again, this machine is 114 years old, as you know now. So, and the next one is called Salt Creek. Salt Creek. Here we go. You got to do that to a song like this. If you don't, you got no country in your spirit. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get something to drink real quick. Oh, this is stomping music. Any of you grew up with the Beverly Hillbillies? Watching that program? Oh yeah. And Buddy Epson, who played obviously, Mr. Clampett. He was a good hoofer. He had some moves, man. He had some moves. If you've never seen that series, check it out. He cuts a rug once in a while, and boy, can he do it. Oh yeah. For a little bit of packing material here. Yes. Down in the South, you can make anything an instrument. Look at what they did with washboards. Yeah. That's some good stuff. Some good stuff. Now, I wonder if these are metal pins or if they're aluminum pins. I'll be able to scoop a bunch of these up real quick if they're metal. Oh yeah, we got metal. Some of these are aluminum. Some of these, the magnet is not picking them up, so they're aluminum. And a screw, too. I'll probably hang on to the screw. The pins I'm going to get rid of. The pins I'll get rid of, but the screw I'll keep because I might be able to use that on some other project, or maybe even on Donna's project. So, but Donna's grandmother definitely liked her pins. That's for sure. That is for darn sure. All right, Salt Creek, and now we're going to do Triumph on the Prairie, and I'm going to come off the tripod. Let's get closer to Donna's grandmother's Model 27. Again, born in what year? See if you were paying attention. Just for fun, type it in the chat if you remember what year Donna's grandmother's machine was born. And if you don't remember the year, you could always do the math knowing that this machine is 114 years old, right? All right, y'all, I'm just going to give it to you because if you didn't pay attention to get that down, then there you go. 1906. 1906. And I bet you there were all kinds of cool things happening in 1906. You know what I mean? I'm also going to take off Donna's grandmother's little wrap here. I might save that because that's something that might have some sentimental value for Donna. So I'll just carefully snip it off if I'm able, without trying to cut through a pin, obviously. And if any of you remember the local man that brought me his machine, and I presented that machine, isn't it Mike Boyle, right? His would have had the same decal set as the one that's going to eventually replace this faded and kind of tattered one on Donna's grandmother's machine. But we'll take this off right now. That way you can see the machine a little bit more clearly as we come off the tripod. All right. So that was Triumph on the Prairie, and now we're going to do Dance of the Fireflies. Dance of the Fireflies. Here we go. That's really, really fused to the bed. I'm not sure what was attached to that, but it's to a point of almost being brittle. Feels like the kind of a stickum or something like that, maybe, that kind of just totally dried out. And that's always good news when you look in there and you can see that vibrating shuttle. That's what that is right there, the vibrating shuttle. They're very unique to each machine. So if I had opened this up and it wasn't in there, we would be on a search and destroy mission trying to find a suitable Model 27 vibrating shuttle that would work in Donna's grandmother's machine. But there she is. Amazing, amazing the technology of that shuttle basically going, you know, instead of being an oscillating one or being a rotary style one, it's just going to be going back and forth sideways like that very rapidly. Yep, really cool. And there becomes the beginning of our rust. That's all rust into the bed of the machine. So you see there, it won the battle against the clear coat, and then it won against the paint. It beat the paint as well, so we're all the way down to the metal on the bed right now. It's all the way down to the bed. And if you're real new to vintage sewing machines or just are not familiar with the vibrating shuttle ones, this is your bobbin winder right here. This has a spring in it, and you put the long bobbin between these 2 points. Y'all know what a long bobbin is? Let me grab one off the other workbench and I'll show you. If I can get my fingers on one. So in the absence of a standard, like a circular bobbin like you're used to seeing, this is a long bobbin, or a barbell bobbin, some people refer to them as. And when you're winding a bobbin, it goes basically between these 2 points. Don't know if I'm going to be able to do this one-handed. Probably not. May have to cheat and set the camera down for just a second. And this, every long bobbin is obviously fit for the machine, so I picked one that's too long. Let me see if I can find a Model 27 long bobbin real quick. Hold on a second. I'll put on some music while I'm searching. So that was Dance of the Fireflies, and now we have Ginormous Robots. We've played this one before. How can you forget a title like that? All right, so this should be a Model 27 bobbin. Yeah, it's in there pretty good. So that's basically how it fits right there. And the way you're gonna wind a bobbin on a machine like this is you're going to come off the spool on top. You're generally going to go right across to this thread point right here. Then you're going to come across the front of the machine down to this little point right here, where looks like part of that is broken off. I do believe, yeah, a little tip of that is broken off, so I'll have to see if I can find a replacement for that. And then it comes up over the top of this little goalpost thing, and then it goes over the long bobbin, and that's kind of how it feeds. And then this long bobbin winder moves back and forth like a pendulum to distribute the thread evenly across the long bobbin. And right now we can't even try to demonstrate that because there's no bobbin winding tire on here, and there's no, again, this is set up to be in a treadle table. There's no belt that would be coming in contact with this wheel. So, and the way the machine is set up right now with a motor on the back, we're not going to be able to, unless we run a second stretch type belt from here to here. We're not going to be able to use this in its current configuration because right now it's set up with a motor, and that drive belt is going to be going over the balance wheel down to this pulley. So we'll have to see what our options are. But that certainly would be a potential thing, is using a stretch belt. I don't really love stretch belts, but using a stretch belt around the balance wheel down to the pulley, and then just removing it, putting another stretch belt from here to here, and then we would be able to use this electric motor to power this for winding a bobbin from one end to the other. Does that make sense? Those are really our options there right now, because this was designed that it would have a treadle belt coming over the top down into the table all the way down to the treadle pulley system below in the table, and then when you push that treadle, it would turn this, because the belt would be coming in contact with it. You know, as soon as you rotate it into position, it's got contact. Just imagine that there's a tire on there. So once you rotate it into position, it's got contact with that treadle belt, and then when you're done winding a bobbin, you just rotate it back again. So it rotates in, it rotates back when you don't want to have this making contact with that treadle belt. So we got all kinds of things in there, don't we? And this is a junction style plug-in right now. That it's the way it's set up. They've got this junction point. One of these is going to be a plug-in for the motor. The other one's going to be a plug-in for the light. So the one that isn't plugged in for the light is going to be set up on the hot zones, so it has continuous power. This one here is going to be set up where it has intermittent power, so you could wire a foot controller into it like they've done here, but not with a necky foot controller. We'd want to use a Singer foot controller, obviously. And you can see our little support here that's designed to be on top of the bed to hold the bed in place was bent down somehow. It's not really doing that any longer. So another pin. Who knew? So now if we rotate this back a little bit, I think we'll be able to do that. Well, maybe not. Oh, it broke free on the back. See that? The nail actually gave out. Yep. Let me set the camera down for a little bit, see if I can jimmy this so we can tilt it back a little bit. Yeah, it came loose completely. You can kind of see that right there. That's supposed to be anchored to the base, and it just ripped out. Here we're kind of looking at the bottom of Donna's grandmother's machine. Very dirty, but not as much rust on the bottom as I would have expected to see. Varnishing for sure, dirt for sure, grime for sure. As a matter of fact, as I touch it, you can kind of see it. It's kind of like a white Christmas. Oops. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. I'm trying to get more snow. Wait. Yes, there it is. Yeah, that's not snow, that's just dirt. So the bottom looks better than I would have expected. A lot of damage to the top, which probably means there maybe was water dripping on the machine as well. It set on that paint, it softened the paint, and then eventually it started rusting. So, all right, I'm gonna set the camera down again so I can lower the machine down carefully. As carefully as I can. And our slide plate came off over here. That's what you heard. Usually these are fused on so tight you can't even open them up unless you tap them out a little bit, but this one is moving pretty freely. Not sure about the back one. Back one is kind of stiff, but well, let me put on a little bit more music and we'll walk around the back side of this machine as well so you can look at it a little bit closer up. Yeah, Ginormous Robots is not on the top 10 of my pick list, that's for sure. So now we have Barnyard Surprise, which is kind of a fun little tune. Let's put that on. Barnyard Surprise. Beautiful faceplate on this Model 27 that belongs to Donna. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, it needs some cleanup and some polishing, but you can just see how ornate and beautiful that is. It's just gorgeous. The scroll work that they put into these was just phenomenal. Really wasn't a form of art. And we're actually getting some movement, which is cool. Yeah, when I did Mike's machine, this is the toughest decal to cut and to place, because you literally have to you have to try to keep it from, because it's thinner than rice paper, and as you're bringing it down, you have to keep it from curling underneath itself on either ends and sticking, getting it laying down just perfectly, and then getting it set into place so that it's positioned correctly and orientated correctly across the top of the machine. So, and this one too always strikes me as one that almost, when you look at it at a glance, it's like they put that one upside down, but that's the way it's supposed to be. I'm looking at this wiring and I don't think I'm going to be adventurous enough to try plugging this in. I don't know if Donna did or not, but I think I'm going to take a pass on that. Beautiful balance wheel, isn't it? Look at the size of that. Compare it to like a Husqvarna balance wheel, which is almost about the size of the clutch retainer here. Let me go over to the back. We've got a made in the US motor. See if I can zoom in on that a little bit. Made in my hometown, Racine, Wisconsin. See that on the bottom right? And it's 0.9 amps, so that's a good strong motor. We don't know if it runs or what condition the motor is in, but it's almost a full amp. So that's you know, if that's salvageable and I'm able to restore it, then that's going to be a real meaty motor for this Model 27 for sure. Here's what's left of the decals over this guard for the belt. See a little bit of it there, but the rest of it's pretty much eroded away. And all in all, the balance wheel is in surprisingly good shape as well. When you look at, I mean, all the rust down here. You look at over here, and we've got a balance wheel that is in surprisingly good condition when you compare it to the bed of the machine. There's our little decorative plate cover for maintenance access. Also beautiful scroll work on it as well, if you can see that in the shot. The light looks like it's been banged around a little bit, but that's probably going to be something that I can salvage as well. And we could always look at re-chroming it so that it's got a nice bright appearance instead of kind of the dingy appearance right now with little specks of rust on it as well. So we'll have to see how bad off it is. So this is Donna's grandmother's machine. Model 27. Born again what year? Come on, y'all. What year? Type it in the chat. What year was Donna's grandmother's machine born? I'm going to put on another piece of music while you're typing out those 4 letters. Or numbers, I should say. 4 numbers. All right. Arkansas Traveler is our next one. Arkansas Traveler. So if you put down 1906, you're right. 1906. Trying to get Arkansas Traveler. Maybe my internet went out. Well, once again, this is a fabulous machine that has the potential for fill in the blank. If you typed in the chat greatness, you're absolutely right. Because by the time we get done with this, me, as soon as I get done with this 1906 Model 27, it is going to look like a treasure. It's already a treasure, but it's going to look like a real pretty treasure. And that's really the intent of Donna, is wanting to make this a family heirloom. So I'm going to do everything within my power to give it a look of pizzazz, so that generations to come in Donna Maloney's family down in the great state of Tennessee are going to look at that and go, good gravy, what is that? And Donna by then will probably be a grandmother, maybe even a great-grandmother, who knows? Or she'll definitely be older than she is today. And she'll just smile sweetly and go, honey, that's a Model 27. And that belonged to Grandma way back in the day. Yeah, baby. All right. Well, thank you for this, being a part of this unboxing, and for going through the steps with me as we kind of jumped around a little bit and did different things and made a handle for the case and all kinds of other fun stuff. And that's what we do on this channel. We kind of do things that other folks won't do on their channels, and that's a shame. That's a darn shame, isn't it? They should have fun like we do. I mean, after all, it's a playroom, folks. All right, well, stay tuned for other unboxings. I got quite a few coming up. A lot of things to unbox, including, I think, 3 different ones from Roz out in the great state of Michigan. So stay tuned. Stay alert. Thank you guys for dancing. You were absolutely fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. Dr. Singer, there's talent in your family. There's talent. All right. Well, y'all wave goodbye. Y'all come back now, you hear? As we say goodbye for now to Donna's grandmother's 1906 Model 27. Yeah. Sweet machine. Very sweet machine. Wait until we get done with it. Good gravy. Good gravy.